The polished glass of the boutique window reflected Willow Harper's face as she carefully arranged a silk scarf on the mannequin's slender neck. Her fingers moved with practiced precision, adjusting the fabric until it draped just so elegant yet effortless, the way luxury should appear. She stepped back, critically assessing her work, completely unaware of the pair of dark eyes watching her from across the street, the same eyes that had been observing her artistry for weeks now. "Perfect," Willow murmured to herself, tucking a strand of auburn hair behind her ear before turning away from the window display. Lumiere, the high-end boutique where she'd worked for the past 18 months, was quiet this Tuesday morning. The shop, nestled in the most exclusive shopping district of the city, catered to a clientele who could afford hand-stitched Italian leather and custom-fitted designer pieces without glancing at price tags. At 26, Willow had developed a reputation among the regular customers for her impeccable taste and honest opinions. She'd studied fashion design but had discovered her true talent lay in helping others find their personal style. The boutique's owner, Madame Claudette, had promoted her to assistant manager within 6 months, recognizing not just her eye for fashion but her ability to connect with their demanding clientele. "The window looks magnificent, Willow," called Madame Claudette from behind the counter. The French woman's accent had barely faded despite her 20 years in America. "The new Valentin collection deserves such display." "Thank you. I wanted to showcase the scarves differently this time," Willow replied, moving toward the register. "The lighting catches the texture beautifully from this angle." The bell above the door chimed softly, and both women turned to see who had entered. Willow's professional smile faltered for just a moment as she recognized him, the man who had visited 3 times in the past month. There was nothing particularly remarkable about his frequency. Their wealthy customers often shopped regularly. What made him memorable was his understated presence. Unlike many of their male clients who entered with an air of entitled expectation, he moved through the boutique with quiet confidence. "Good morning," Willow greeted him, regaining her composure. "Welcome back to Lumiere." The man, dressed in a charcoal suit that fit him perfectly without appearing too tailored, nodded in acknowledgement. "Good morning," he replied, his voice deep and pleasant. "Mr. Foster," Madame Claudette said with a knowing smile. "Always a pleasure to see you again. Will you be looking for another gift today?" Willow tried not to appear too curious. His previous visits had involved purchasing gifts: an exquisite cashmere scarf, a pair of leather gloves, and most recently, a small handcrafted purse. Each time, he had asked for Willow's assistance specifically, claiming he valued her opinion. "Actually," he said, "I'm shopping for myself today." His eyes, a rich brown that complemented his olive skin, flickered toward Willow. "If Miss Harper has time, I'd appreciate her assistance again. She has excellent taste." Willow felt a small flutter of professional pride. "Of course, I'd be happy to help. What are you looking for today?" "I have several events coming up," he explained, walking further into the store. "I need to upgrade my wardrobe beyond the standard business attire." Noah Foster, though Willow only knew him as Mr. Foster, moved with the ease of someone completely comfortable in his skin. She estimated him to be in his early 30s, with broad shoulders and the lean build of someone who exercised regularly. His dark hair was cut in a style that required minimal effort, but looked intentional rather than neglected. What Willow didn't know was that Noah Foster was the founder and CEO of Foster Innovations, a technology and sustainable energy company valued at over $11 billion. The several events he mentioned included a UN climate summit, 2 major charity galas, and a series of high-profile meetings with international investors. but Noah had made it a point throughout his career to maintain a low public profile, allowing his company's achievements to speak for themselves. "What kind of events are we dressing for?" Willow asked professionally, already mentally cataloging pieces that might suit him. "A mix," Noah replied. "Some formal charity functions, business casual speaking engagements, and a few dinners that fall somewhere in between." "I see," Willow nodded. "Let's start with something versatile then. We just received a collection from Milan that might interest you." As she guided him through the store, Willow maintained a professional distance while pointing out various pieces. Noah appreciated her straightforward approach, no excessive flattery or pressured sales tactics. She simply presented options, explained why they might work for him, and left the decision in his hands. "This jacket," she said, selecting a navy blazer with subtle texture, "works well dressed up with formal trousers or down with premium denim. The construction is impeccable, and the fabric has enough weight to drape properly without feeling heavy." Noah took the jacket, examining the stitching with knowledgeable fingers. "You have a good eye for quality." "Thank you," Willow replied, surprised by his assessment. Most customers simply trusted the boutique's reputation without evaluating the craftsmanship themselves. "Would you like to try it on?" He nodded, and she directed him toward the fitting rooms at the back of the store. While he changed, Willow selected several complementary pieces, shirts in varying degrees of formality, trousers in different cuts, and accessories that would elevate each look. When Noah emerged wearing the blazer, Willow had to consciously maintain her professional expression. The jacket fit him perfectly, accentuating his broad shoulders and trim waist. He looked like he'd stepped out of a magazine editorial. "That fits you remarkably well off the rack," she commented, approaching to adjust the collar slightly. "How does it feel?" "Comfortable," Noah said, moving his arms to test the range of motion. "Not restrictive. The natural shoulder is ideal for your frame," Willow explained. "Would you like to see some options to pair with it?" For the next hour, Noah tried on various combinations Willow suggested. Their interaction was primarily professional, but occasionally, when she made an observation that was particularly insightful, or when he shared a subtle joke about formal dress codes, a more personal connection flickered between them. What Willow didn't notice was how Noah's eyes followed her when she turned away to retrieve another item, or how he seemed to value her opinions beyond what would be expected from a typical customer-salesperson interaction. There was something refreshing about her approach, honest without being blunt, knowledgeable without being condescending. By the end of the session, Noah had selected an impressive collection of clothing, 3 complete outfits, additional shirts, 2 pairs of shoes, and various accessories. The total would have caused most shoppers to pause, but he simply handed over his black card without comment. As Willow carefully folded and packaged his purchases, Noah leaned against the counter. "I have another event this Friday," he said casually. "A gallery opening, very casual, elegant. Would you have any recommendations?" Willow glanced up from her precise folding. "We have a beautiful linen shirt that would be perfect with the navy trousers you just purchased. It's relaxed but refined." "I trust your judgment," Noah replied. "I'll take it sight unseen." Willow paused, surprised. "Are you sure? I could at least show you first." "You haven't steered me wrong yet," he said with a small smile. "Besides, I'm running late for a meeting." Willow added the shirt to his purchases, wondering about this man who could spend thousands without blinking and trust a boutique assistant's judgment so completely. As she handed him the elegant shopping bags, their fingers brushed momentarily. "Thank you for your help today, Miss Harper," Noah said. "My pleasure, Mr. Foster," she replied professionally. "I hope the clothes serve you well at your events." As Noah left the boutique, Madame Claudette approached Willow with an impressed expression. "That was quite a sale, ma chérie." "He has good taste," Willow said simply, watching through the window as Noah disappeared into a sleek black car waiting at the curb. "And he seems to appreciate yours as well," Madame Claudette observed with a knowing look that Willow pretended not to notice. What Willow couldn't see was Noah in the back of his car, already on a conference call with his executive team while his driver navigated through midday traffic. As his CFO discussed quarterly projections, Noah's mind briefly drifted to the boutique assistant with the honest eyes and skilled hands. There was something intriguing about Willow Harper, something authentic that stood out in the curated world he typically inhabited. "Noah, your thoughts on the Singapore expansion?" His CFO's voice pulled him back to the present. "Proceed as planned," Noah replied smoothly, pushing thoughts of Willow to the back of his mind. "But double-check the regulatory compliance before we finalize anything." 3 days later, Willow was adjusting a display of leather goods when the boutique door opened. She turned, expecting to see Mrs. Whitford, their regular Friday morning customer, but instead found Noah Foster standing in the entrance, dressed casually in dark jeans and a simple gray sweater that somehow looked more expensive than most people's formal wear. "Mr. Foster," she greeted him, surprised. "I wasn't expecting you back so soon." "I wanted to thank you," he said, approaching the display. "The shirt was perfect for the gallery event." Willow smiled, genuinely pleased her recommendation had worked out. "I'm glad to hear that. So much so that I thought I might impose on your expertise again," Noah continued, "if you have time." "Of course," Willow said, gesturing toward the men's section. "What are we looking for today?" "Actually," Noah hesitated, which seemed unusual for his typically confident demeanor, "I'm looking for a gift, something special." "Oh." Willow felt an unexpected twinge of disappointment which she immediately dismissed as unprofessional. Of course a man like him would have someone special in his life. "For your girlfriend, or perhaps your wife." Noah's expression shifted slightly, a momentary confusion crossing his features before understanding dawned. "No, nothing like that. It's for my sister's birthday. She's turning 30 next week." "I see," Willow replied, ignoring the ridiculous relief she felt. "Does she have any particular style preferences?" "She's a corporate attorney, so professionally conservative," Noah explained as they moved toward the women's section. "But she appreciates quality and craftsmanship. Something unique, but not flashy." Willow considered for a moment. "Would you like to see some of our accessories? We have a collection of handcrafted leather goods from a small atelier in Florence that might interest you." As they discussed options for his sister, Willow noticed Noah seemed more relaxed than during his previous visits, asking more personal questions about Willow's opinions rather than strictly professional ones. When she showed him a beautifully crafted leather portfolio, he asked what drew her to work in fashion. "I've always loved how clothing can transform not just appearance but confidence," Willow explained, running her fingers over the buttery leather. "The right piece can make someone stand taller, feel more capable." Noah nodded thoughtfully. "That's insightful. Most people focus only on the aesthetic." "Style goes beyond aesthetics," Willow replied. "It's about identity, communication, even psychology." She paused, feeling suddenly self-conscious about her passionate response. "Sorry, that probably sounds pretentious." "Not at all," Noah said, his dark eyes studying her with interest. "It's refreshing to hear someone talk about their work with genuine passion." Their conversation continued as Willow showed him various options, eventually settling on an elegant watch with a slim leather band, sophisticated but not ostentatious. As Noah made the purchase, he seemed to hesitate before speaking again. "I know this is unorthodox," he began, "but I'm attending a charity auction tomorrow evening at the Gardner Museum. Very casual. I wondered if perhaps you might be interested in attending." Willow froze, her hand hovering over the credit card terminal. Was Noah Foster asking her out? A customer asking her on a date was completely against boutique policy, not to mention professionally complicated. As a networking opportunity, Noah added quickly, perhaps sensing her hesitation. "The event supports arts education programs, and given your background in fashion, I thought you might find it interesting. Many of the city's creative professionals attend." "Oh," Willow said, processing this unexpected turn. "That's very thoughtful, but it's completely understandable if you'd rather not," Noah interjected smoothly. "It was just a thought." Willow looked at him, trying to gauge his intentions. There was nothing inappropriate in his manner, no pressure or expectation in his expression. Just a straightforward invitation. "Actually," she heard herself saying, "that does sound interesting. What time is the event?" "It begins at 7, Noah replied, a smile warming his features. "I could send a car for you if that's convenient." "That's not necessary," Willow said quickly. "I can meet you there." They exchanged phone numbers for logistics. Noah explained and Willow completed his transaction, suddenly very conscious of her movements under his gaze. After Noah left, Madame Claudette approached with raised eyebrows. "Was that what I think it was?" she asked in French-accented English. "Just a professional networking opportunity," Willow insisted, though her cheeks felt warm. "The charity supports arts programs." Madame Claudette replied skeptically. "And I suppose his constant returns to our boutique are purely coincidental." "He's just a good customer," Willow protested, though the idea that Noah might have been returning specifically to see her sent an unexpected thrill through her. "If you say so, ma chérie," Madame Claudette said with a knowing smile. "But perhaps wear that new burgundy dress tomorrow night. It suits your coloring magnificently." The next evening, Willow stood before her closet, second-guessing her decision to attend the charity auction. Was this unprofessional? Was she reading too much into a simple networking invitation? She'd spent the day alternating between excitement and anxiety, especially after searching Noah Foster online and finding surprisingly little information. He appeared to be some kind of businessman, but details were scarce, unusual in the age of social media oversharing. Eventually, she decided on the burgundy dress Madame Claudette had suggested, knee-length with a modest neckline, but a beautifully tailored silhouette that flattered her figure without being overtly sexy. Professional but elegant. She paired it with simple gold earrings and a delicate necklace, applied minimal makeup, and arranged her auburn hair in loose waves. Despite Noah's offer, Willow took a rideshare to the Gardner Museum. The historic building was illuminated against the darkening evening sky, its entrance busy with well-dressed attendees. Willow felt a flutter of nervousness as she approached, wondering how she would find Noah in the crowd, and if she would feel out of place among what was clearly a wealthy gathering. She needn't have worried. Noah was waiting just inside the entrance, his tall figure easily visible. When he spotted her, his expression warmed with what appeared to be genuine pleasure. "You came," he said simply, approaching her. "I said I would," Willow replied with a small smile, suddenly conscious of how handsome he looked in a charcoal suit that she recognized from their boutique. The cause sounded worthwhile. "It is," Noah confirmed, gesturing toward the main gallery. "Shall we?" As they entered the exhibit space, Willow was immediately struck by the atmosphere, elegant but not stuffy, with beautiful artwork displayed alongside silent auction items. Servers circulated with champagne and hors d'oeuvres, and small groups of people conversed throughout the space. The organization provides arts education in underserved schools, Noah explained as they accepted champagne flutes. They've managed to reinstate programs in 17 schools so far. That's impressive, Willow said sincerely. Arts education can be transformative for children. Noah nodded in agreement. Exactly, it was for me. I had an art teacher in middle school who he stopped abruptly as an older couple approached them. Noah Foster, the gentleman said warmly. I was hoping to see you here tonight. Senator Williams, Noah greeted him with a polite handshake. Mrs. Williams, it's good to see you both. Willow tried to mask her surprise. Noah knew a senator. As the men exchanged pleasantries, Mrs. Williams smiled kindly at Willow. I don't believe we've met, she said. I'm Billionaire Williams, Willow Harper, she replied, extending her hand. It's a pleasure to meet you. Willow is a fashion expert, Noah interjected smoothly. She has an incredible eye for design and craftsmanship. How wonderful, Billionaire responded. We need more creative minds supporting these programs. As the conversation continued, Willow observed how easily Noah navigated the interaction, respectful but confident, knowledgeable about the senator's recent environmental legislation without being obsequious. She also noticed how several people in the room seemed to be watching Noah with interest, some even pointing discreetly in his direction. When the senator and his wife moved on to greet other guests, Willow turned to Noah with raised eyebrows. You know Senator Williams personally? Noah looked slightly uncomfortable. We've worked together on some environmental initiatives, he said vaguely. Would you like to see the auction items? As they moved through the gallery, Willow became increasingly aware that Noah wasn't an ordinary businessman. The deference shown to him by the event staff, the way other guests glanced at him with recognition, the ease with which he discussed the various artworks, all suggested someone of significant standing. They paused before a striking abstract painting, its bold strokes of blue and gold creating a sense of movement across the canvas. What do you think? Noah asked, studying her reaction rather than the painting. It's captivating, Willow replied honestly. The contrast between structure and chaos, the way the colors interact, it's both grounding and uplifting. Noah's expression softened. That's exactly what drew me to it as well. As the evening progressed, they viewed the exhibits, bid on several auction items, and engaged in conversations with various attendees. Noah consistently included Willow, introducing her to people who might be valuable professional contacts and highlighting her knowledge of design and aesthetics. It wasn't until they were examining a sculpture near the back of the gallery that Willow finally gathered the courage to ask directly. Noah, she began, using his first name for the first time that evening. Who are you exactly? Everyone here seems to know you. Noah seemed to consider his response carefully. I run a company called Foster Innovations, he said finally. We develop sustainable energy solutions and environmental technologies. And that's why you know Senator Williams, because of environmental initiatives. Noah nodded. My company has been involved in some policy discussions regarding clean energy. Before Willow could press further, the auction director announced that bidding would close in 15 minutes. Noah excused himself briefly to place final bids, and Willow found herself alone, processing this new information. A woman in an elegant black dress approached, offering a friendly smile. You're here with Noah Foster, right? Yes, Willow confirmed cautiously. I'm Jessica Lynn from the Arts Council, the woman introduced herself. It's wonderful to see Noah with a date. He usually attends these functions alone, despite being one of our biggest benefactors. Oh, we're not, Willow began. His donation last year funded our entire mobile art studio program, Jessica continued enthusiastically. 11,000 children experienced hands-on arts education, who otherwise would have had none. The man's a quiet philanthropist, billions in assets, but prefers to stay out of the spotlight. Willow froze. Did you say billions? Jessica looked confused. Well, yes, Foster Innovations is valued at O. Her expression shifted to embarrassment. I'm sorry, I assumed you knew. Noah is so private about his success. Willow's mind raced. The man who had been visiting her boutique, asking her opinion on clothing, was a billionaire. The pieces suddenly fell into place: his knowledge of quality craftsmanship, his comfort with luxury prices, the deference others showed him. Of course, Willow recovered quickly. I just wasn't thinking in those terms. When Noah returned a few minutes later, Willow studied him with new eyes. Nothing about his demeanor suggested extreme wealth: no flashy watch, no arrogant attitude, nothing like the stereotypical billionaires portrayed in media. I managed to place a bid on that painting you liked, Noah told her. The proceeds go directly to the children's workshop program. Willow nodded, still processing her new understanding of who Noah Foster actually was. As the auction concluded and the event began winding down, Noah suggested they get some air on the museum's terrace. The night had turned cool, and the terrace was empty except for them. City lights sparkled below, creating a beautiful backdrop as they stood at the stone balustrade. You're very quiet suddenly, Noah observed, his dark eyes searching her face in the dim lighting. Is everything all right? Willow hesitated, then decided direct honesty was best. I just found out who you really are. Noah's expression tightened almost imperceptibly. Ah, someone told you. Why didn't you? Willow asked, genuinely curious rather than accusatory. Why come into the boutique multiple times without mentioning your, well, a billionaire, Noah supplied with a self-deprecating smile. It's not exactly a natural thing to bring up in conversation. Hello, I'd like to see that shirt, and by the way, I'm worth $11 billion. Despite her confusion, Willow laughed softly at his delivery. Fair point. But still, you let me think you were just a regular customer. In your boutique, that's exactly what I am, Noah said, his expression turning serious. You treated me like a normal person, not a walking bank account. Do you know how rare that is in my world? Willow considered this. I suppose I can understand that. But it feels a bit like you weren't being completely honest. I wasn't dishonest, Noah countered gently. Just selective about which parts of my life I shared initially. Isn't that what everyone does when they're first getting to know someone? Getting to know someone, Willow repeated, raising an eyebrow. Is that what we've been doing? A smile played at the corner of Noah's mouth. I'd like to think so. Why else would I keep finding reasons to visit a boutique when I could have my assistant order anything I need? Willow felt warmth spreading through her chest despite the cool evening air. So all those purchases, those were just excuses. The clothes are exceptional, Noah said diplomatically, but the company was the real draw. They stood in silence for a moment, the implication of his words hanging between them. Where do we go from here? Willow finally asked. I'm still just a boutique assistant, and you're still just a person who happens to run a company, Noah finished for her. Would you allow me the chance to show you that's not all I am? Willow studied him in the moonlight, this man who could have anything or anyone but who had spent weeks visiting her boutique and asking for her opinion on shirts and jackets. I think I'd like that, she said softly. Noah's smile reached his eyes, creating small crinkles at the corners. How about dinner tomorrow night? A real date this time, no networking pretense. I'd like that too, Willow agreed, but I have one condition. Name it. No restaurants where the menu doesn't list prices, Willow said firmly. I want to get to know regular Noah, not billionaire Noah. He laughed, the sound genuine and warm. Deal. I know a fantastic little Italian place where the owner would never dream of removing prices from the menu. The tiramisu alone is worth the visit. As the event concluded and Noah arranged for a car to take Willow home, neither could have predicted how that simple agreement would change both their lives. For Noah, it was the beginning of a relationship based on something real, not his wealth or status. For Willow, it was a step into a world she'd never imagined entering, but with someone whose true value had nothing to do with his bank account. The following evening, Noah waited outside the small Italian restaurant he'd mentioned, feeling an unfamiliar nervousness. He changed clothes 3 times before settling on dark jeans and a casual button-down nice, but not ostentatious. For the first time in years, he cared deeply about someone's impression of him that had nothing to do with business or his company's valuation. Willow appeared at exactly 7, wearing a simple sundress that made her auburn hair glow in the early evening sunlight. The smile that spread across Noah's face at the sight of her was entirely involuntary. "You look beautiful," he said as she approached. "Thank you," Willow replied, a slight blush coloring her cheeks. "You clean up pretty well yourself, Mr. Billionaire." Noah winced playfully. "I thought we agreed to leave that part at the door." "Just getting it out of my system," Willow said with a teasing smile. "From now on, you're just Noah, the man with questionable taste in ties until I intervened." "Harsh but fair," Noah laughed, opening the restaurant door for her. Inside, Trattoria Milano was everything a neighborhood Italian restaurant should be: warm lighting, red checked tablecloths, the rich aroma of garlic and herbs permeating the air. The owner, Marco, greeted Noah with enthusiastic recognition. "Noah, mio amico," the portly Italian exclaimed. "It has been too long, and you bring a beautiful lady this time, not those boring business associates." "Marco, this is Willow," Noah introduced. "Willow, this is Marco, who makes the best tiramisu in the city, possibly the country." "Only possibly." Marco pressed a hand to his chest in mock offense. "My nonna would weep at such faint praise. Come, I have your usual table ready." As they were seated in a cozy corner booth, Willow raised an eyebrow at Noah. "Your usual table? You come here often enough to have a usual table." "At least twice a month," Noah confirmed as Marco brought them menus with prices clearly listed, as promised. "My offices are about 6 blocks from here. I discovered it my first week in the city, before Foster Innovations was more than just me working out of a converted warehouse apartment." "So this is a glimpse of pre-billionaire Noah," Willow observed, scanning the simple menu. "This place is special to me," Noah admitted. "Marco gave me credit for meals when I was burning through my savings trying to get the company off the ground. He believed in me before anyone else did." Willow's expression softened. "That's lovely, and now you're probably his most famous customer." "I doubt he sees me that way," Noah said. "To Marco, I'm just the skinny kid who needed feeding. Some relationships are refreshingly resistant to change, no matter what happens with your bank account." As the evening progressed, they shared plates of homemade pasta and stories from their lives. Noah told Willow about growing up in a middle-class family, his father an engineer and his mother a high school art teacher. He described his early fascination with renewable energy, the scholarship that sent him to MIT, and the 3 failed prototypes before his breakthrough sustainable battery design. "Most people assume I was born into wealth," Noah explained, twirling pasta on his fork. "But the truth is much less glamorous. I lived on ramen and worked out of a friend's garage for the first 2 years." "That actually makes more sense," Willow said thoughtfully. "You don't have the entitled attitude I've observed in lifelong wealth. You seem to value things differently." "How so?" Noah asked, genuinely curious about her perception. You look at the craftsmanship of items, not just the brand name, Willow explained. You treat service staff with respect. You drive a nice car but not a flashy one. Little things that suggest you remember what it's like to not have everything at your fingertips. Noah looked impressed. You're very observant. It's part of my job, Willow said with a small shrug. Reading people, understanding what they really want versus what they think they should want. Fashion is often about psychology as much as aesthetics. Tell me about your journey, Noah encouraged, refilling her wine glass. How did you end up at Lumiere? Willow told him about growing up in a small town, her early love of sketching designs, and her determination to study fashion despite her parents' practical concerns. She described the competitive design program she'd attended, her brief, disillusioning internship at a fast fashion company, and finally finding her place at the boutique where quality and individual style were valued. I realized I'm better at helping others express themselves through clothing than designing collections myself, she explained. There's something incredibly satisfying about finding exactly the right piece for someone, something that makes them feel confident and authentic. Like that first navy blazer you showed me, Noah said with a smile. Exactly, Willow confirmed. I knew immediately it would work with your build and coloring. The fact that you recognized the quality just confirmed my instinct. So you weren't just trying to sell me the most expensive item in the store, Noah teased. Actually, there were 3 jackets with higher price points, Willow retorted with a grin. But they wouldn't have suited you as well. The commission wasn't worth compromising my professional integrity. Noah laughed, a full, rich sound that drew smiles from nearby diners. Your honesty is refreshing, he said warmly. It's one of the first things I noticed about you. As promised, the tiramisu was exceptional light, creamy, with the perfect balance of coffee and sweetness. They lingered over dessert and espresso, their conversation flowing easily from professional aspirations to favorite books, from travel experiences to childhood memories. I can't believe it's almost 11, Willow said when she finally glanced at her watch. The time just disappeared. The sign of good company, Noah replied, signaling for the check. When it arrived, he paid with cash, no black card in sight, and left a generous tip. Outside, the night had turned cool and Willow rubbed her bare arms. Without hesitation, Noah slipped off his jacket and draped it over her shoulders. Thank you, Willow said, pulling the warm fabric closer. It smelled faintly of his cologne, something subtle and woody. Not just for the jacket, but for tonight. It was lovely. Would you like to walk for a bit? Noah asked, gesturing down the street where lights from shop windows created pools of warm color on the sidewalk. There's a small park about 2 blocks down with a nice fountain. Willow nodded, and they strolled side by side, occasionally brushing shoulders. The neighborhood had a peaceful quality at this hour, busy enough to feel safe, but quiet enough for conversation. So now that you know about my wild billionaire lifestyle of pasta and tiramisu, Noah said lightly, are you disappointed? Were you expecting yacht parties and helicopter rides? Terribly disappointed, Willow deadpanned. I had my heart set on swimming in a vault of gold coins, Scrooge McDuck style. Noah's laugh echoed in the quiet street. Maybe for our 5th date, I like to ease people into the eccentric billionaire experience. Our 5th date. Willow repeated, raising an eyebrow. You're very confident, Mr. Foster. Hopeful, Noah corrected, his expression turning more serious. I enjoy your company, Willow, more than I've enjoyed anyone's in a long time. They reached the small park he'd mentioned, where a fountain burbled peacefully in the center of a circular plaza. Wrought iron benches surrounded it, and Noah gestured to one. As they sat, A comfortable silence fell between them, broken only by the gentle sound of falling water. "Can I ask you something?" Willow said after a moment. "Anything. With all your resources, all your connections, why me? Why shop at Lumiere when you could have clothes custom-made by the world's top designers? Why invite the boutique assistant to a charity event?" Noah turned slightly to face her, his expression thoughtful. "Do you remember the first day I came into the store? You were helping an older woman with a scarf selection." Willow frowned slightly, trying to recall. "Mrs. Abernathy. I don't know her name," Noah said. "But I was across the street, about to head into a meeting, when I saw you through the window. You spent nearly 20 minutes helping this woman, showing her different options, demonstrating various ways to tie each scarf. Your patience and genuine interest in helping her find exactly the right piece caught my attention." "That's just part of my job," Willow said, surprised. "But that's just it," Noah countered. "For most people, it would be just a job. For you, it was clearly more a chance to use your knowledge to make someone else's day better. When I finally came into the boutique a week later, you treated me with the same authentic attention. No flattery, no unnecessary upselling, just honest expertise and genuine interaction." He paused, his dark eyes reflecting the soft light surrounding the fountain. "Do you know how rare that is in my world, Willow? Authentic connection. Most people either want something from me or assume they know me based on headlines and net worth. You just saw me and treated me accordingly." Willow felt warmth spreading through her that had nothing to do with his jacket still draped around her shoulders. "I still just see you," she said softly. "Billionaire status notwithstanding." Noah's gaze dropped briefly to her lips, then back to her eyes, a question in his expression. Willow answered by leaning forward slightly, and Noah closed the remaining distance between them. The kiss was gentle at first, almost hesitant, a testing of waters. When Willow responded, one hand moving to rest lightly on Noah's chest, the kiss deepened. His hand came up to cradle her cheek, warm and steady. When they finally pulled apart, both were slightly breathless. Noah's usual composure seemed shaken, his eyes darker than before. "I've been wanting to do that since you adjusted the collar of that blazer," he admitted, his voice lower than usual. "That was weeks ago," Willow said with a small laugh. "You have impressive patience." "Some things are worth waiting for," Noah replied simply. They sat by the fountain for another hour, talking and occasionally kissing, reluctant to end the evening. When Willow finally could no longer suppress a yawn, Noah insisted on seeing her home. "I can call a car," he offered, already reaching for his phone. "Let's just take a rideshare like normal people," Willow suggested. "Remember, I'm getting to know regular Noah tonight." Noah agreed with a smile, though Willow noticed he still insisted on upgrading to the premium service when he made the booking on his app. Some habits, it seemed, were harder to break. Outside Willow's apartment building, modest but in a decent neighborhood, Noah walked her to the door. "I'd like to see you again," he said, still holding her hand. "Soon." "I'd like that too," Willow replied honestly. "But I should warn you, my life is much less glamorous than yours. I work 6 days a week. I live in a 1-bedroom apartment with a temperamental air conditioner, and my idea of luxury is ordering takeout instead of cooking." "Sounds perfect," Noah said without hesitation. "Except maybe the air conditioner part. I know a guy who could look at that." "Of course you do," Willow laughed, shaking her head. "Good night, Noah." He kissed her once more softly before reluctantly releasing her hand. "Good night, Willow." As she entered her apartment, Willow realized she was still wearing Noah's jacket. She considered running back down to return it, then decided it would make a perfect excuse to see him again, though she suspected neither of them needed excuses anymore. The following week brought a significant shift in Willow's life. Noah texted her the morning after their date, a simple message thanking her for a wonderful evening. By lunchtime, a bouquet of wildflowers had been delivered to the boutique with a note that read, "Not roses too predictable. These reminded me of your free spirit. Dinner tomorrow." Madame Claudette was beside herself with excitement when she saw the flowers. "So the networking event went well, I see," she said with a knowing smirk. "It was nice," Willow admitted, trying and failing to suppress a smile. "Nice enough for flowers from Noah Foster," Madame Claudette observed. "Do you know who he is, ma chérie?" "I'm learning," Willow replied diplomatically. Their second date was at a small jazz club where the musicians played so close to the audience that Willow could see the gleam of sweat on the saxophonist's brow. Noah knew the band leader, who dedicated a song to Noah and his lovely companion. They drank craft cocktails, their knees touching under the small table, and talked about music and art until the final set ended. Their third date was even simpler takeout from a Thai restaurant, eaten on a blanket in the park as the sun set. Noah arrived wearing jeans and a t-shirt, looking so unlike the powerful CEO he was that Willow couldn't help laughing. "What?" he asked, spreading out containers of pad thai and green curry. "Nothing," Willow said, accepting a plate from him. "I just keep expecting to see some sign of your alter ego, a hidden butler, a solid gold fork, something." "Sorry to disappoint," Noah grinned. "I left my diamond-encrusted chopsticks in my other pants." By their fifth date, a cooking class where they both failed spectacularly at making soufflés, Willow had to admit to herself that she was falling for Noah. Not the billionaire CEO, but the man who laughed when his soufflé collapsed, who listened intently when she spoke, who seemed genuinely interested in her opinions on everything from politics to pizza toppings. What Willow didn't know was that Noah had already fallen hard. The woman who treated him like a normal person, who challenged his ideas, who didn't fawn or flatter, she was unlike anyone he'd ever dated. In a world where his wealth usually created an imbalance in relationships from the start, Willow's independence and straightforward nature were refreshingly equalizing. A month into their relationship, however, the realities of Noah's position began to intrude. They were leaving a restaurant when several photographers suddenly appeared, cameras flashing as they called out questions. "Mr. Foster, is this your new girlfriend? What's your name, miss? How long have you been dating?" Noah instinctively stepped in front of Willow, shielding her as he guided her quickly to the waiting car. Once inside, he immediately apologized. "I'm so sorry about that," he said, running a hand through his hair in frustration. "I should have been more careful about the restaurant choice." Willow was still processing what had happened. "Do you deal with that often?" "Not usually," Noah sighed. "I've managed to keep a pretty low profile over the years." But there was a piece in the business section last week about Foster Innovation's new government contract, and I guess it put me back on their radar. "I see," Willow said quietly, looking out the window. Noah studied her face with concern. "Are you okay? I know it can be jarring the first time." "I'm fine," Willow assured him, though her expression remained thoughtful. "Just processing what dating you actually means in practical terms." This conversation continued at Willow's apartment, where Noah explained more about his public profile. While not a celebrity in the traditional sense, his company's success and his occasional appearances at high-profile events meant he sometimes attracted media attention. "I try to keep my private life private," Noah explained as they sat on Willow's small sofa, cups of tea in hand. "But occasionally, like tonight, it becomes difficult. I want you to be prepared for the possibility of more incidents like that." Would they really be interested in me? Willow asked skeptically. I'm hardly tabloid material. Noah's expression turned serious. You're dating a billionaire, Willow. In their eyes, that makes you instantly interesting. They'll want to know your background, your job, how we met. Some might try to paint you as a gold digger or me as someone exploiting a power imbalance. It's ugly, but it's reality. Willow absorbed this, considering the implications. I hadn't really thought about that aspect of your life. Most people don't, Noah said gently. It's one of the less glamorous parts of success, but I want to be transparent with you. Dating me comes with some complications. Like paparazzi and potential public scrutiny, Willow summarized. Yes, and security considerations, scheduling challenges due to my travel, occasionally attending high-profile events, Noah added. I understand completely if that's not what you signed up for. Willow studied him for a long moment, noting the tension in his shoulders, the careful neutrality he was trying to maintain in his expression. She realized with sudden clarity that Noah was afraid she would decide he wasn't worth the complications. Noah, she said finally, setting down her tea and moving closer to him on the sofa. I'm dating you, not your bank account or your company profile. If that means occasionally dealing with photographers or attending fancy events, I can handle it. The relief that washed over Noah's face was palpable. You're sure? Because I would understand if Willow silenced him with a kiss, gentle but definitive. I'm sure, she said when they separated, but I appreciate the warning, and maybe next time we can choose a restaurant with a back exit. Noah laughed, the tension leaving his body as he pulled her closer. Noted, I know a few places with excellent security and even better pasta. Of course you do, Willow teased, resting her head on his shoulder. Regular billionaire things. As their relationship deepened over the following months, Willow gradually adjusted to the occasional intrusions of Noah's public profile. There were more incidents with photographers, particularly after a business publication included Noah in their 40 under 40 list, with a mention of his new relationship with boutique fashion consultant Willow Harper. The first time Willow saw her name in print was jarring, but Noah helped her navigate these new waters with patience and understanding. He introduced her to his security team, explaining precautions she might want to consider, while always emphasizing that she should maintain her own life and independence. The moment my world starts to diminish yours rather than expand, it is the moment we need to reevaluate, Noah told her seriously. Your career, your friends, your interests, those remain your priorities. I'm just hoping to be an addition to your life, not a replacement for parts of it. This philosophy extended to their living arrangements. Despite seeing each other nearly every day, Noah never pressured Willow to move into his penthouse apartment. Instead, he often stayed at her place, seeming perfectly content with her small kitchen and temperamental air conditioner, which, true to his word, he had arranged to have fixed by a guy he knew. 4 months into their relationship, Noah invited Willow to accompany him to a significant event, the annual gala for his company's foundation, which funded educational programs in science and arts for underprivileged youth. This would be her first official appearance as Noah's partner at a Foster Innovations function. It's completely your choice, Noah emphasized when he brought up the invitation. They were having breakfast at a small cafe near Willow's apartment, a Sunday morning ritual they'd established. There will be press, company executives, political figures. It's fairly high profile. Willow took a sip of her coffee, considering. Will your family be there? Noah nodded. My parents and my sister, yes. Then I'd like to go, Willow decided. She'd heard so much about Noah's family, but had yet to meet them. His sister, Nina, the corporate attorney he'd bought the watch for, sounded particularly formidable. But I have nothing appropriate to wear for something that formal. Noah's eyes lit up. I might have a solution for that if you're open to it. The solution, as it turned out, was a private appointment with a renowned designer who owed Noah a favor. 2 days later, Willow found herself in an elegant atelier, being fitted for a gown while Noah watched with evident pleasure from a comfortable chair in the corner. "This feels excessive," Willow whispered to him as the designer stepped away to retrieve fabric samples. "Consider it research for your career," Noah suggested with a smile. A behind-the-scenes look at high-fashion design processes. Willow had to admit there was truth to this. The opportunity to observe a master designer at work was invaluable from a professional perspective. And when she finally saw herself in the completed gown, an elegant creation in deep emerald that complemented her auburn hair and fair skin perfectly, even her practical nature had to acknowledge the result was worth the extravagance. The night of the gala arrived with a mixture of excitement and nervousness for Willow. Noah's driver collected her from her apartment, bringing her to Noah's penthouse where they would depart together. When she entered his home, a space of clean lines, warm woods, and stunning views of the city, Noah was waiting in the living room, adjusting his bow tie. He turned at the sound of her entry, and his expression made all of Willow's nervousness evaporate. The obvious appreciation and affection in his gaze as he took in her appearance was worth more than any compliment. "You look absolutely breathtaking," Noah said, crossing the room to take her hands. "You clean up pretty well yourself," Willow replied, taking in his impeccable tuxedo. "Though your tie needs help." She reached up to straighten it, a gesture that felt surprisingly intimate. "I was hoping you'd notice that," Noah admitted with a smile. "I've been told I have questionable taste in ties after all." The gala was held in the grand ballroom of the city's most prestigious hotel. Transformed for the evening with subtle lighting and elegant floral arrangements that emphasized the foundation's focus on education, rather than ostentation. As they entered, Willow was acutely aware of eyes turning in their direction, conversations pausing momentarily. Noah's hand rested lightly at the small of her back, a reassuring presence as they made their way through the crowd. "Noah." A woman's voice called, and they turned to see an elegant woman in her early 60s approaching, accompanied by a distinguished man of similar age. Noah's parents, Willow realized immediately, recognizing their features from photos Noah had shown her. "Mom, Dad," Noah greeted them warmly, embracing each in turn. "I'd like you to meet Willow Harper. Willow, these are my parents, David and Margaret Foster." "It's a pleasure to finally meet you," Margaret said, taking Willow's hands in hers. "We've heard so much about you." "All good things, I hope," Willow replied with a smile. "Better than good," David Foster assured her with a warmth that immediately put Willow at ease. "Our son hasn't stopped talking about you for months." "Dad," Noah protested mildly, though he didn't look particularly embarrassed. "What?" "It's true," David laughed. "It's refreshing to hear him talk about something other than sustainable battery technology or solar efficiency rates." As they chatted, Willow observed the obvious affection between Noah and his parents. Despite his success and wealth, there was no pretension in their interaction, just the normal teasing and warmth of a close family. "There's Nina," Margaret said, gesturing toward the entrance where a striking woman in a tailored black gown had just arrived. "She said she might be late some case she's working on." Nina Foster spotted them and made her way over, moving with the same confident grace as her brother. Up close, the resemblance between them was even more apparent, the same dark eyes, the same determined set to their jaw. "Sorry I'm late," Nina said, kissing her parents' cheeks before turning to Noah. "Last-minute brief needed reviewing." "Nina, this is Willow," Noah introduced them. "Willow, my workaholic sister, Nina." "The famous Willow," Nina said with interest, assessing her openly. "The woman who's managed to distract my brother from his perpetual work schedule. I've been dying to meet you." "Likewise," Willow replied honestly. "I've heard wonderful things about you." "And I've heard you have excellent taste," Nina said, raising her wrist where the watch Noah had purchased under Willow's guidance glinted in the light. "My brother has many talents, but gift selection isn't traditionally one of them." "Hey," Noah protested good-naturedly. "Remember the blender you got Mom for her birthday 3 years ago?" Nina reminded him with a teasing smile. "It was a professional-grade appliance," Noah defended himself. "Very practical." "For a restaurant chef, perhaps," Margaret interjected with a laugh. "But it's found a good home in Nina's kitchen." As the conversation flowed easily between them, Willow felt herself relaxing. Noah's family was warm and unpretentious, treating her with genuine interest rather than evaluation. Throughout the evening, as they mingled with guests and Willow was introduced to countless business associates and foundation supporters, Noah remained attentive, making sure she was comfortable and included in conversations. During dinner, seated at the head table with Noah's family, Willow had a moment to observe him in his element. When he rose to give a speech about the foundation's work, his passion for education and opportunity was evident. This was a different side of Noah, the visionary businessman, articulate and compelling as he spoke about technological innovation as a pathway to solving social challenges. "My father taught me that success is meaningless if it doesn't create opportunity for others," Noah said, his gaze finding his parents at the table. "And my mother showed me that creativity and technical innovation are not opposing forces, but complementary ones. This foundation exists because of those lessons." As applause followed his speech, Willow felt a surge of pride and something deeper, a recognition that the man she had come to care for so deeply was not just charming and kind in private, but principled and purposeful in his public role as well. Later, as they danced to the live orchestra, Noah held her close, his cheek resting against her temple. "Thank you for coming tonight," he murmured. "Having you here means everything." "I wouldn't have missed it," Willow replied honestly. "Your family is wonderful, Noah. I can see where you get your values from. They adore you," Noah told her. "My mother already texted me under the table during dinner to tell me not to mess this up." Willow laughed softly. "I like them too, very much." As the orchestra played a slow, romantic melody, Noah guided her in a gentle turn, his hand warm against the small of her back. "I love you, Willow," he said quietly, the words simple but weighted with sincerity. Willow's step faltered slightly in surprise, and Noah steadied her, his dark eyes searching her face. It was the first time either of them had spoken those words, though the feeling had been growing between them for weeks. "I love you too," Willow replied, the truth of it resonating through her entire being. "Not the billionaire CEO or the foundation chairman, just you, Noah." The smile that illuminated Noah's face was worth every camera flash, every curious glance, every adjustment she'd made to accommodate his public profile in her life. He drew her closer, and they continued dancing, wrapped in a moment of perfect understanding amid the glitter and glamour of the gala. As their relationship deepened further in the months that followed, Willow and Noah established a rhythm that balanced their different worlds. Willow continued working at Lumiere, though she was now occasionally recognized by customers who had seen her photo accompanying articles about Noah. She had initially worried this might create awkwardness, but Madame Claudette had simply shrugged and said, "Good publicity for the boutique, non." Noah respected Willow's desire to maintain her own career and independence, never suggesting she should stop working now that she was dating a billionaire. Instead, he supported her professional growth, connecting her with contacts in the fashion industry and encouraging her when she mentioned an interest in eventually opening her own boutique focused on sustainable, ethically produced fashion. "You have the eye, the knowledge, and the people skills," Noah told her one evening as they discussed her career aspirations. They were on the terrace of his penthouse, sharing a bottle of wine as the city lights twinkled below. "When you're ready to take that step, I believe in you completely." "Would you invest in me?" Willow asked teasingly. Noah's expression turned thoughtful. "Only if you wanted me to, and only as a silent partner who has absolutely no say in the creative decisions. I know better than to interfere with your excellent taste." This consideration, his awareness of when his wealth and influence might overshadow rather than support her, was one of the qualities Willow most appreciated about Noah. He never used his resources to control or direct their relationship, only to enrich their experiences together. Those experiences grew increasingly integrated as they approached their one-year anniversary. Willow had gradually begun spending more time at Noah's penthouse, keeping a section of his closet filled with her clothes. Noah had likewise carved out space in Willow's apartment, proving he could work just as effectively on her small kitchen table as in his home office when he wanted to be near her. One ordinary Tuesday evening, 9 months into their relationship, Noah arrived at Willow's apartment with takeout from their favorite Thai restaurant. As she set the table, Noah seemed unusually preoccupied, checking his phone repeatedly. "Everything okay?" Willow asked, placing water glasses on the table. "Just waiting for an update on a project," Noah replied, though his tone lacked his usual casual confidence. "Nothing urgent." They were halfway through dinner when Noah's phone chimed with a message. He checked it quickly, a smile spreading across his face. "Good news?" Willow asked, taking a bite of pad thai. "The best," Noah confirmed. "Remember that old building I mentioned a few weeks ago, the one near the design district?" Willow nodded, recalling their conversation about a historic building Noah's company had purchased as part of a neighborhood revitalization project. "The renovation plans were just approved," Noah said, his enthusiasm growing visible. "And I'd like to show you something there." "Tonight if you're free." "Now?" Willow asked, surprised. "It's almost 8. "The timing's perfect, actually," Noah assured her. "Trust me." 20 minutes later, they pulled up in front of a beautiful old brick building with large windows and ornate architectural details. The surrounding area was an up-and-coming neighborhood where design studios, art galleries, and independent boutiques had been establishing themselves over the past few years. "This is it," Noah said as they approached the entrance. "Foster Innovations purchased this entire block last year as part of our community development initiative." He unlocked the front door and guided Willow inside, turning on lights to reveal a spacious interior with soaring ceilings, original wooden floors, and exposed brick walls. The space was empty but immaculately restored, with modern lighting fixtures complementing the historic architecture. "It's beautiful," Willow said sincerely, her voice echoing slightly in the open space. "What will it be used for?" "That depends," Noah replied, watching her reaction carefully. "I had several ideas for this particular storefront, but one keeps coming back to me as perfect." He guided her further into the space, where architectural drawings were spread out on a temporary table. Willow approached them curiously, then gasped as she recognized what she was seeing. The drawings depicted a boutique, not just any boutique, but one with details she had described to Noah during late-night conversations about her dream store. There were sketches of display areas, fitting rooms, even a small workshop space in the back where custom alterations could be performed. "Noah," Willow breathed, her fingers tracing the drawings. "This is a possibility," Noah said carefully. "If you want it to be." Willow turned to face him, emotions conflicting within her. "You bought this building for me." "No," Noah clarified quickly. "The company bought this block months ago, before I even knew your retail dreams. But when this particular space was being allocated, I thought of you. The location, the architecture, the neighborhood demographics, they align perfectly with the business plan you outlined." He moved closer, taking her hands in his. "This isn't a gift, Willow. It's a business opportunity. The space would be leased to you at market rate with standard terms. You'd secure your own financing for the build-out and inventory, though I know some investors who might be interested if your business plan is solid, which I have no doubt it would be." Willow studied his face, understanding dawning. "You're not trying to bankroll my dream. You're creating a pathway for me to achieve it myself." Noah nodded, relief evident in his expression. "Exactly. Your success should be your own, built on your talent and hard work. I just want to remove artificial obstacles, not the meaningful challenges that will make the achievement satisfying." Willow walked slowly around the space, envisioning what it could become. The location was perfect, accessible to wealthy clients, but not so exclusive that it would alienate the broader customer base she hoped to cultivate for her sustainable fashion concept. "The timing feels so sudden," she said, turning back to Noah. "I was thinking maybe in a few years." "The opportunity presented itself now," Noah explained. "But there's no rush. The space will be held for commercial leasing. It could be yours in 6 months or 2 years, whenever you feel ready. I just wanted you to see it, to know it exists as a possibility." Willow approached him, wrapping her arms around his waist and resting her head against his chest. "Thank you for understanding the difference between supporting my dreams and taking them over," she said softly. "Not everyone would see that distinction." Noah held her close, pressing a kiss to the top of her head. "I love you for your independence and vision. Why would I want to diminish those qualities?" As they stood together in the empty space filled with possibility, Willow realized how profoundly Noah understood her need to achieve on her own terms, her desire for partnership rather than patronage, her ambition tempered by practicality. "I think I might be ready sooner than I thought," she admitted, looking around the space again with new eyes. "I've been developing a business plan for months, just as an exercise, and I've been saving." "I know," Noah said with a smile. "You left your spreadsheets open on your laptop last week when I borrowed it to check my email." Willow laughed, not even bothered by this discovery. "Snooping on my financial planning, Mr. Billionaire. Admiring your meticulous approach," Noah corrected. "It was impressive. Very thorough risk assessment." They spent another hour in the space, with Willow taking measurements and photos, her mind already racing with possibilities. By the time they left, a transformation had occurred not just in Willow's career timeline, but in their relationship. Something had deepened between them, a mutual understanding and respect that transcended their different financial circumstances. 3 months later, Willow signed a lease on the space. Her business plan had secured financing from a small investment group that specialized in sustainable businesses connections. Noah had made but funding that was approved solely on the strength of Willow's concept and projections. She had given notice at Lumiere, with Madame Claudette's tearful but enthusiastic blessing. "You must name your new boutique something magnificent," the Frenchwoman had insisted. something that reflects your vision, your personality. After much consideration, Willow had chosen the name Authentic, simple but meaningful, reflecting her commitment to genuine materials, ethical production, and helping clients express their true selves through fashion. On the evening before the boutique's soft opening, Noah brought Willow to the space after the final preparations were complete. The transformation was remarkable. Warm lighting illuminated thoughtfully arranged displays. A central seating area invited relaxed consultations, and the fitting rooms featured flattering lighting and comfortable seating for companions. "It's everything I imagined," Willow said, emotion catching in her throat as she looked around the space that represented years of dreams and months of intensive work. "It's magnificent," Noah agreed, his pride in her achievement evident. "And entirely yours." "Not entirely," Willow corrected, turning to face him. "I wouldn't be here without you." "You absolutely would," Noah countered firmly. "Maybe not in this exact space or at this exact moment, but you would have created this eventually. Your talent and determination were always going to lead here." Willow smiled at his unwavering belief in her. "Maybe, but I'm glad I didn't have to do it alone." As they stood in the center of her soon-to-open boutique, Noah reached into his pocket and removed a small box. "I was going to wait until after your successful opening, but this moment feels right," he said, his voice uncharacteristically nervous. Willow's breath caught as he opened the box to reveal a ring elegant yet understated, with a center diamond flanked by small emeralds that echoed the color of the gown she had worn to their first gala. "Willow Harper," Noah said, his dark eyes filled with emotion. "This past year has transformed my life in ways I never imagined possible. You've seen me the real me from the beginning and loved me for who I am rather than what I possess." He took her hand, his touch steady despite the vulnerability in his expression. "I want to build a life with you, equal partners with different strengths but shared values. Will you marry me?" Tears blurred Willow's vision as she nodded, words momentarily beyond her capacity. When she found her voice, it was unwavering despite her emotion. "Yes," she said simply. "Yes, I will marry you, Noah." As he slipped the ring onto her finger, a perfect fit, of course, and gathered her into his arms for a kiss that promised a lifetime of partnership, Willow marveled at the journey that had brought them here. From a boutique assistant, noticing a customer with an eye for quality, to a woman opening her own business, with the support of the man she loved, it was a path neither could have anticipated that first day when Noah Foster walked into Lumiere, or even earlier when he had first spotted her through the window, arranging a scarf with careful hands and focused attention. Their story was not one of rescue or transformation through wealth, but of recognition, two people seeing each other's authentic selves and choosing to build something meaningful together, regardless of the balance in their bank accounts or the differences in their backgrounds. As they celebrated their engagement surrounded by the physical manifestation of Willow's dreams and Noah's support, they both knew that the true luxury in their lives had nothing to do with penthouse apartments or designer clothing, but with finding in each other the perfect complement to their individual strengths, a partnership as carefully crafted and authentically valuable as any item in Willow's new boutique. 2 years later, Authentic had expanded to a second location, with Willow's commitment to sustainable fashion earning recognition in industry publications. Noah's company had launched a groundbreaking new solar technology, and their shared life had found a rhythm that balanced professional ambition with personal connection. On their wedding day, held in the sculpture garden where they had shared their first kiss, Willow wore a dress designed by one of the ethical fashion creators she now featured in her boutique. Noah waited for her beneath an arch of wildflowers, not roses too predictable. The florist had been instructed his expression, as she approached, reflecting the same wonder he had felt watching her arrange that scarf in the boutique window years before. Their vows, written by each of them, spoke not of possessions or provision but of partnership, growth, and unwavering support for each other's dreams. And as they moved forward into their shared future, the boutique assistant and the billionaire who had noticed her continued to see each other clearly beyond labels, beyond bank accounts, recognizing in each other the authentic selves they had been fortunate enough to find and wise enough to cherish.